Hey people, it's Steel Gamer here, and welcome to a Diablo 3 video I wanted to make as a counterpart to the original video I made about leveling from 1 to 70 during season, but I hadn't made one for how to level efficiently at the very beginning of season when it starts. So welcome to this video. First thing I'm going to go over is explain. I don't want to say that this is the only way to do this because there are probably far more efficient ways to do this. All I know is that this is the most efficient way I have come up to do this. I will explain that you do need multiple people at certain parts of this video where I will explain. And for time constraint purposes, I'm just going to quickly go over a few things. And I already have a character set up later on in the levels, but I'll explain what led up to that. And that's basically it. So when you start season, the first thing you want to do is create a necromancer. And since this kind of is a race to get to 70 as fast as you can, the reason I say use a necromancer is because it deals out the most damage the fastest. It's probably the most efficient character to use as far as balance wise, because you can have a crappy build and still do really well. I mean, you could pretty much go on Torment 1 once you're level 30 with this thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. So as far as power and damage wise, the necromancer is the most efficient character to use because it can do things all other character classes cannot do. Second thing, if you haven't done, basically do not do the challenge rift a week prior to the season starting. The reason for that is because there are items and materials in the challenge rift that will actually help surpass other people. They'll help you surpass other people because there are just items in there that will allow you to do things you normally wouldn't have been able to do. And one of them has the death breaths in it. So when you have the death breaths, you can actually level all of the artisan, the blacksmith, and the jewel crafter to level 12, because the blacksmith and the jewel crafter require a death breath apiece to get to level 12. So you only get 10 death breaths out of the challenge rift. So what happens with that is you have 8 left, which in turn, because of how the rest of the system goes, which I'll explain it, you either want to use the death breaths to craft higher level gems or put one item in your cube. That's a preference, and that's up to you. But to start, what you would do is you wait till season starts, and since it is kind of a race to get to 70, just rebirth a character because it's already made for you. So in this case, I'm naming this one for stream. I already actually have another character created, as I said, which I will swap to afterwards just for time constraints in this video. So what you would do is when season starts, you would create a character, then you would go into the game settings, go to challenge rift, which I believe you can get this done prior, and then you would complete it and then back out. Since I've already done it, the chest is tied to the account itself, not the mode of play you do it in. So what happens here is you could do the challenge and then either pull a chest into hardcore and then it's in hardcore, or pull a chest into non-hardcore. But whatever mode of play you do it on is the mode of play it is, so it'll complete it for either one. It just depends on what you want to do. Okay, so that being said, after you get that done, you go back in and you want to set it on hard. Now, for purposes of starting the game, you want to have, or as far as starting season, you want to have a group together already set up to go. And you want, multiple people to do this for the first two parts of what I'm about to tell you. So the first part is, when you start the game, you want it with 4 people. Each player is going to start their own game first, and then whoever winds up getting the bounty for Zoltan Kuhl is going to invite everybody else into the game, or into their game, to go do Zoltan Kuhl's bounty. So the reason you want to do Zoltan Kuhl first is because it is the closest boss you can get, and it gives you yellow items, and a lot of them, sometimes, I don't want to say a lot of them, but for the most part, some of them actually have XP gaining points on them, which is what you want. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to find out if Zoltan Kuhl is actually a bounty. In this case, it's not. In worst case scenario, if all 4 players don't get it, you would just exit out and then restart and then re-invite everybody back in. So you only want to do that 2 or 3 times, but it's faster because you're basically starting 16 games compared to 1 backing out 4 players backing out into 1 game. So it's literally, if you have to do it 3 times, you're starting 16 games fast enough. So, and each player can go and start on their own so you can get it done faster. Okay, so that's all there is to this. So what is suggested to do is to go to level 1. And everything is already set up in here, meaning it's easier to get to access to everything. So as I said, I've already done the artisan to level 12. I've done the jeweler and the enchantress to level 12 because that's what you're going to want to do. So when you start, you want to sell your scythe to this merchant. You want to hire the scoundrel because as the necromancer, you cannot equip a bow. Now you can only obviously hire the hireling if you're by yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to matter. So do not touch the hireling, obviously, for what I'm about to show you. As far as the Templar and the Enchantress go, you're going to access their inventory and strip the items off of them. The reason you don't touch the Scoundrel is because when you go separate on your own, you're going to want the Scoundrel with you, and they're going to need a weapon. So what you would do at this point is you'd equip whatever weapon gives you the more damage, and then you would salvage what you got off, salvage the other weapon. This gives you items and materials and things like that. Now, when you start this, when you start the group game, the first thing you want to do is obviously go to Zoltan Cool. After you get Zoltan Cool done, which gives you yellow items, which I'll go do in a second, you want to go grab these books. So level 1 has 3 of them. These books give you XP bars. Now, these are subjective to when you get them. Sometimes, the higher level you are, that goes by, the XP amount you get from this goes by the level you are. And so, it's not that it's not going to make a major impact. It is. It's just going according to your level. So then what you would do is you go to level 4. You go to Act 4. And then you would get the book off on the floor for there. So there is 3 books in Act 1. 1 in Act 4. Which is on the ground here. Then you would go to the Runes of Sescheron. Well, you don't go to the Runes of Sescheron. Yeah, you go to the Runes of Sescheron level 3. And on the way to where you would normally go to the direction of the Elder Sanctum, there's another book on the ground up here somewhere. Let me just locate it real fast. It's right there. Now, you would go to Act 1. And you would go to Halls of Agony 1. You're going to go to Halls of Agony 1, 2, and 3. The reason for that is because there were books. There's going to be a book sometimes there. Sometimes there isn't. All right, so there's a book on the lectern here. Then you go to Halls of Agony level 3. Sometimes you get lucky and there's books all over the place. So that's about the extent of what you're doing there. Now, for purposes of this video, I'm going to exit out and then go to Zoltan and see if I can find Zoltan Cool. Whoops, I got to go back to town first. Whenever you can, try to use the teleport points. So that would be, all the players can get their own books on their own and things like that. Again, you want to keep this on hard mode. Now again, this is just for purposes of leveling efficiently. So let's try, see if Zoltan Cool is there. Nope. You only want to do this like 2 or 3 times because there's a time constraint in them. So, I'm going to exit out and do it one more time. I would only do this maximum 3 times. Sometimes you just get unlucky, but sometimes you get perfect, you get on there perfect. Tomekeeper. Best case scenario, you go to the Skeleton King. That's the next thing. When you're in the Skeleton King's area, what you want to do is you want to break these, because breakable objects increase your speed. And the faster you get to something, the faster off you're going to be. Now, I'm going to make a point to say that you want to kind of ignore the elites, because the elite packs that are here aren't going to be as beneficial to you as much. Also, encountering a gelatinous goblin isn't going to really help you out, because there's really nothing that they're going to produce this early in the game. So don't worry about if you can't get them all. It's not like you're going to get this big loss. It's still nice to have, but it's not, oh, I got to get it, you know what I mean? So let's give me one quick second because I have to adjust something. And then what I want to point out is that if you see the video skip, it's because I accidentally, for stupid me, I accidentally hit the edge of the screen, and I'll drag the screen. Like my mouse will go off the screen. As you can see, it just dragged. So that's what happens. If you see it happen, that's what's going on. So I'm going to break all of these. As you can see, I got a speed boost now. and it's a 38-second speed boost. When you get I actually have to swap my skills out. When you get these when you get the yellow items or the abilities to do stuff on this, there's this particular area you're gonna wind up going to. I have to swap my skills. I can't have those like that. All right, so there we go. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even get that. I didn't even put a skill in. Oh, I couldn't. That's why. I was getting attacked. All right, so bone spear. Good. All right, so basically after you get the bounty done. See, I think there's an elite pack over there somewhere. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going directly to the Skeleton King. I'm not worried about anything else. Where most of your XP is going to come from is these kill streaks you're going to wind up getting. If you can help it, you don't want to end your kill streak. Sometimes shit just happens, but you can't do anything about it. So basically, what you're going to wind up doing is after you get the bounties done here, and you go to Zoltan Cool, wherever the Skeleton King, or best case scenario, you get both of them, which is really good. What you're going to do is you're going to do 2 full runs of bounties, meaning you're going to get 10 bounty chests. What you're basically looking for is the Borns and Cain set that's already made. And since you have already gotten the see, here's this lectern here. There's more. There's usually more books on there which give you XP. So best case scenario, you get Zoltan Cool and this. But basically what you're looking for in the bounties is you're looking for the Borns and Cain set, which is crucial to you leveling. And so after I just go kill the Skeleton King, I'll show you where to level. So I'm trying to play and do this at the same time. So I'm just going to go to the Skeleton King real quick. I think my speed bonus is about to wear off, so I better get over to him. It's a little slower drawn out at first, but once you get what you need, it flies. It's ridiculous. So everybody's a little slow at first because everybody has their own procedure or standard, way of doing things. And everybody's obviously going to think their way is the most efficient. The reason I got those I broke those bases for the speed boost is I don't really want him hitting me. First of all, I'm on hardcore mode, so that doesn't help the matter. If I die, I don't feel like wiping out in this video. Sometimes there's also gold in those vases as well. The gold is a good thing at the beginning of this, obviously, Alright, so now I got some yellow items here. This obviously would have gone faster if there was Zoltan Cool, because we wouldn't have to go all the way through this. It's just Zoltan Cool is right there. Alright, so after you get all this, it's subjective to whether or not you want to go get the cube or whatever, because that's up to you. Let me see if I can grab these. Alright, so you want gear with XP gaining. XP gain is what you're looking for. And those, and that's it. So this has XP gain on it. This, I think, has XP gain on it. I don't know if these... Alright. So, what you do after you get to this point, since you'll have the materials and the gold, what you do is you go to the blacksmith and you make a level 5 scythe, one-handed scythe, and you make a level 5 phylactery. So if you only have the material to make one, you make the scythe. You don't make the phylactery. The scythe is your attack weapon. So in this particular case, I have to wait until I have level 5. So I'm going to drop this on the ground, and then I'm going to wait. What I could do essentially is salvage these. I would salvage the ones that don't have, since I don't really need them. I could actually salvage the yellow pieces to get one more piece so I can make the phylactery. So that's going to be your best bet. So let me see. Do I need 5 of them? Yeah, I need 5. Okay, so what I would do is I'm going to salvage something I don't really, that isn't going to impact me. So I wouldn't salvage something that gives me XP. I would salvage something like, I want my movement speed. All right, I'd salvage my chest piece, so I'm good with that. I'm good. So I would then make a phylactery. So as soon as I hit level 5, I'd be able to equip both of these. You just got to be careful not to salvage all the yellows when you do it. So after you get all that finished, you would normally already be at level 5 at this point. You would go do a round of bounties. And since this season has 2 bounties, gives you 2 bounty caches per 1 bounty, that would be, I would tell you to normally do 2 runs of bounties. So you not only have the plans for a lot of the items, but the mats and everything else that you can do with it, that you can use as well. Because the jewel crafting recipes are actually key for this. Because when you start making, when you start getting gems, you want to use rubies in your weapon. And so after you get, I had put all this stuff away already, because like I said, I had already previously done this on a different character. I'll tell you the setup that I use for this. The Born set has 3 pieces, but it only requires 2 to get the bonus. It has a sword, a chest piece, and a shoulder. I would only advise making the shoulder and the chest piece simply because the weapon, yeah, people like that's cool and all, but the fact of the matter is, once you get these made, you're never going to swap these for the remainder until you hit level 70. You're going to be using a low-level equipment because the low-level equipment doesn't really matter because you're going to get the same XP boost. You're after the XP boost, not being protective. You can get protected other ways by putting gems and stuff inside the sockets of these items, but the main damage ratio is coming from your weapon. So you're gonna have. I usually tell people to start making 2-handed swords every time you level up, since you have the materials to do it. You want to make a 2-handed sword, and then if it doesn't come with a socket, change one of the stats on it to a socket so you can put a ruby in it. Rubies jack up this the weapon's damage significantly over an emerald when it's earlier in the game from level 1 to 69. Only put an emerald in your weapon after you're a level 70 or a level 70 weapon. But for the most part, you're going to use rubies in a 2-handed weapon, and like I said, I usually make swords. So if you get one with a socket in it, but it doesn't have like intelligence or something else on it, roll intelligence on the weapon to double the damage or get higher damage. But if it has like area effect and has if it has area damage on it and it has intelligence or whatever and vitality, just leave the intelligence and vitality alone and re-roll the area damage to a socket. But basically that's what you want to do. You want to keep putting sockets in them and keep upgrading them every couple of levels, because not every couple of levels, but like every 10 to 12 levels you want to make a new new 2-handed weapon and replace it. So that's about the extent of it. So as I said, when you get the challenge rift chest, you wind up with 8 death breaths. You wind up with 10, but since you're going to use 2 of them to rank the artisan, the jewel crafter, I didn't realize they all said artisan, huh? You're gonna raise the blacksmith, which requires 1 death breath, and then you're gonna raise the artisan, the jewel crafter here, with to level 12. So that's gonna require a death breath. So that's why you have 8. So that leaves the option of I would keep the death breaths to rank the gems. Okay, so now that you have all that straightened out, it's subjective to whether or not you want to go get the cube. I would suggest getting the cube out of the way for 2 reasons. One, you get the cube on normal because it's so fast to do. but you can get massive kill streaks along the way. Now, when you're doing the Runes of Sescheron, you're going to swap out some of the skills depending on what you're doing. But when you're doing the Runes of Sescheron to go get the cube, you want to make sure that you use Corpse Explosion in here, and I will show you why. So, again, this isn't the only... I just want to clarify for the people just tuning in. This is not the only way to do this, but this is pretty effective when you're dealing at the very beginning of season. You have no Paragon, no anything. So, the reason you want to use Corpse Explosion is because the enemies produce... There are enemies in these levels that produce so many other enemies. Corpse Lance would work okay, but it's not as efficient as Corpse Explosion. So when you're getting around these enemies, you want to bring any elites around to other enemies. Also, I suggest that since elites aren't going to really do much for you at the beginning, because it's just to ignore them. They're tempting to go after, but they're not really efficient to kill. So they're just basically a waste of time. And so, after you get all this stuff straightened out, I have Skeletal Mages. I'm just going to tell you that the Skeletal Mages are really good in boss fights. You're not going to be able to get away with the Corpse Explosion shit inside boss fights. Unless the boss produces, like, massive amounts of bodies, but I wouldn't advise that. But because basically what you're doing is you're killing all these enemies fast enough that Corpse Explosion is so crucial in here. It's much more powerful than sorry, I'm trying to play this. It's much more powerful than Corpse Lance, which is what you're actually going to wind up changing to after a little bit. So you're going to be changing stuff back and forth. What I want to do is get this guy around here and then just blow him up with this. Also, on the way inside the Runes of Sescheron, there's like the Ziggurat and things like that, which gives you additional chests. I will tell you that the event chest, when you're playing this at first, is actually crucial because it's going to give you all of the items that you need for like yellows and more mats and everything else. By the way, stream viewers, thanks for tuning in. I'm just going over a couple of things. I'm making a quick video on this, and then I'm going to wind up in a little while streaming freaking Assassin's Creed Odyssey, man. I can't even speak. I'm trying to play and fight at the same time. So basically what you're going to wind up doing is after you get all this done, after your group of 4 players goes and does the bounties and things like that, I suggest again you do 2 runs of bounties. And the thing when you're doing bounties in a 4-player group with the Necros is that you want to retain all 4 people inside the same act. And when you do the bounties, even though you're inside the same act, so let's say you're in Act 1, 2 people would go off and do this bounty, and 2 people... So basically you branch off in pairs of 2 because it's a lot easier for each other to protect each other. And the only time you would branch away from your bounty is if if a group came across a boss, because you have to do the bosses anyway, and the bosses give off chests, which give off better items and gear. That's the key factor with that. So, as a quick recap, before I swap over to the character to show what happens after, once you start going, because I can show you the areas to level in. The quick recap is, you don't do the Challenge Rift a week before the season starts, because what you do is you create a character. Once season starts, you rebirth your character. It's the fastest way to do it. Rebirth really doesn't do anything. All it does is count your hours and everything else. The reason I said rebirth is because rebirth will just automatically transfer you. It's already created for you. Since this is kind of like a race to get to 70 quickly, there's no point in actually going to a character, typing a name, and just friggin' rebirth a thing. So that's what you do with that. And you want to use a Necro because the Necro can deal out the most damage the fastest. And you can have really shitty gear and then wind up doing like Torment 1 with a shitty build. It's ridiculous. It can literally do things that no other character can do. Its damage ratios are so powerful. Now, one thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this video is when you get the Challenge Rift done and you do the bounties, you're going to wind up with blood shards. Now, the blood shards are basically useless until you hit level like 15. So don't spend your blood shards unless you absolutely have to until you hit like level 15 and above. Because what you're going to spend it on when you're dealing with the Necro is a ring, the Circle of Naj, whatever the frick that Skeletal Mage ring is. Now, when you're doing the other rings here, is that you can get a Leoric Signet, which also is good for XP gaining. So those are basically the gist on how that works. Now, once you get to level 5, you can swap those out and things like that. And then before you get to a boss, you would equip, you would swap out Corp Explosion for your mages, and then you would make sure Bone Spikes has sudden impact, which stuns the enemy. And then you're not, for the remainder of this, what I do is I don't. Once I get sudden impact on Bone Spikes, I never change it until I'm level 70. And so that's just one of the permanent skills I use. When I'm doing the mages and I start getting skeletons and things like that, I swap out Bone Spear for Corpse Lance. So let me see. Let me go Bone Spike, sudden impact, accept Bone Spear. Okay, blended marrow to the Corpse Explosion. Okay, so now what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to swap over to my other character and then show you the area to level in. So this would be the level I actually did it in. And this will, again, briefly go over what I just previously already went through with you guys. Now, I want to make a mention about Leoric's Crown. Everyone's like, oh, Leoric's Crown's so good. Leoric's Crown does nothing for you if you have no gem. Okay? Yes, it'll give you a small stat boost. But unless you have a gem in the crown, it's not going to matter. So, that's another reason why I said when you do canes, don't make a helm. If you get a Leoric's Crown, wear it. That being said, you'll notice here that this already has a socket in it. So what I would do, as I explained to you earlier, is I would change the chance to deal area damage into intelligence. I don't think I have enough to do that, or I'm not going to waste the materials right now. So what you're going to do now is every time you enter, you're gonna be exiting and entering the game solo at this point. And what you do, as I told people all the time, you're going to go to the Skeleton King's area first. You're going to break all of these because this is going to give you a speed boost that you're going to need. And once you get the speed boost you need, give me a second. I'm trying to fucking play and fight at the same time. Like I said, you don't normally mess with the elites. Okay, so the skills I'm basically using now are see, this speed boost wore off because I spent too much time attacking these guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to retry to get the speed boost here by breaking all more jars and stuff here. Alright, good. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the Ruins of Sescheron, now that I have a speed boost. And I'm going to go into the Eternal Woods. The reason you go into the Eternal Woods is because it has Resplendent Chest, it has an Event Chest, it has some elites in there that aren't that big of a deal, but mainly it has so many enemies in it. Plus, the event chest actually may give you kill 100 enemies that you can get these massive kill streaks and get massive, massive, massive bonus boosts. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. What you first want to do is go through and get rid of any elites because they're going to stop you from actually gaining. They'll stop your kill streaks. So I'll go over this. I'll go over the build that I'm using and the skills I'm using. I went the wrong way on that. That was bad. I just lost a really good kill streak. You'll notice that my level will be significantly different. So it's like I'm a level 28. This is why you need to get rid of the elites first in here, because they literally will hinder you and stop you from getting your kill streaks. So you need to delete. You need to get rid of every elite pack that's in here first. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it if your kill streak stops. But you want to try not to. See, my kill streak stopped because I'm missing the enemies. So I think Blizzard has separated the ability for enemies to be far enough apart where if you can't move fast enough, you're going to lose your kill streak. I think they did that on purpose. I could be wrong, but I think they did that on purpose. There's a reason you use Corpse Lance in here instead of what do you call it, Corpse Explosion. The reason you use Corpse Lance in here is because it has a higher and faster reach and does way more damage to kill the enemies. The crucial factor in here to keep your kill streaks going is you need to kill the enemies. That's the issue. As you can see, I just lost my kill streak. Oh, I actually have the bounty in here is to kill the cursed chest, so, or cleanse it, I should say. I don't know what that means, but who knows. See, here is a resplendent chest. This area always has a resplendent chest, and it always has a couple of other good chests. So you can get really lucky with a lot of the stuff in here. And like I said, I'll show you the build I'm using in a minute. And basically, what I want to go over now, what I'm trying to do is get to one specific area here, one specific level with a very specific skill, because it's going to actually help you keep your kill streaks going. Before you activate this, I need to get rid of the, I need to get rid of this, yeah, there's an elite pack over here. There's usually an elite pack hanging around the friggin' chest. So you want to get rid of it because like I said, it'll take you forever to kill them, and it'll interfere with your kill streaks, and that's not what you want right now. So it's a good idea to kill them first and then kill all the other enemies around them, because they can keep your kill streaks going. And what you do is you activate the cursed chest in the middle of this whole thing, and it's kill 100 enemies, which is good because now you can just sit there and plow everything together. It's going to be great. So I'm going to have this massive kill streak in this. Also, if you can, find out if there's other enemies. How's it going, man? My friggin' voice is like, my friggin' audio was all fucked up earlier. It was so low. Yeah, I'm just making a very fast video about this. Doing something to show, like, the fastest way to, an efficient way to level when you're starting season. By the way, my voice sounds alright, right? You can hear me perfectly good? Now, you can hear me all right, though, right? Okay. No, because my voice was way too low. I was messing with the audio, and I think I uninstalled something on my computer that I had to reinstall, because the audio was so quiet. I'm going to be streaming Assassin's Creed Odyssey after this. I just needed to make a quick follow-up video, because this was originally a test to see if I could fix the audio, but since the audio has been fixed, I'm just going over this real fast. Because I made a video on how to level efficiently to, yeah, that's how it always is. I made a video on how to efficiently level quick on your own during season, but I didn't make it on how to level to 70 when season starts. So I wanted to actually do that with this and show. Nice. You'll notice that one thing when you do, to the viewer, one thing you do when you're doing one of these, when you level, you'll notice that you basically explode every single enemy around you. That's crucial as far as things go. As far as killing multiple enemies, that's the best way to kill Zoltan Kulle and his enemies. What you do is you get all of them near you, and you kill the friggin' guy, kill one of his guardians, and upon killing his guardian, you level, which will automatically kill the other guardian, and then kill Zoltan Kulle for the most part. So let me go back out, and I'm going to go over this build I'm going to do, and then I'm going to explain the process that I use for this, because once you need to keep your kill streaks going in order to level fast. And I found like Ruins of Sescheron is literally the fastest way to do that, because there's so many enemies in there, and you can actually you got to keep your kill streaks going. And there's resplendent chests for items, just random things like that. So what you would do is you would keep making a two-handed weapon. In this particular case, I just happened to get an axe that was better than a sword. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create if I have the material to do it, I'm going to create a two-handed sword. If I have, like I said, if I have the material to do it. Shit, I don't have it. What is the? I need. Oh, I can't. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to destroy this. Level 23, level 27. Oh, I need 7 on that. Shoot, that's not good. Oh man, this is rough. So this is one of the dilemmas why I say go and do all of the bounties, because you would have the material to do this at this point. So I need a level 23. It's 32. See, I need 7 of these. So that's rough. Oh, you know what? Can I even make a ring out of this? Let me see. I want to keep my ruby, but can I make a ring? Nope, I can't even make a ring. That's terrible. So for the meantime, I'm going to put a ruby in my two-handed weapon here. And if you take a look, you'll notice that my damage is 463, but when I put a ruby in it, it's friggin' ridiculous. It goes up to like 5 something. So, alright, to go over my build here, once you have the access to Blood Rush, that's going to allow you to keep your kill streaks going so much better. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Devour in place of Command Skeleton. Most people wouldn't advise that, but I am going to. I'm going to use Satiated for that. And now when I hop around, I can actually efficiently get more kill streaks better. So let me exit the game. And then once you do this, you go back into the game on hard. Then you go back to sorry, the crypt, the Skeleton King's crypt. You break those items. Let's start back here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the Ruins of Sescheron, and I'm going to go back to the Elder Sanctum. So now once you go back to the Elder Sanctum, I'm sorry, once you go back to the Eternal Woods, I don't know why I said Elder Sanctum, I have a speed boost here, but the main thing here is I got to get rid of these elites, as I said. I'm using in case you're wondering, I'm using the Gift of Death Mage on the Gift of Death rune on the mages, because it allows me to turn the mages turn into corpses, which is basically the whole gist of what I'm using here. So now I can just keep the kill streaks going by hopping around with I can hop around back and forth now with friggin' Blood Rush. I can't even speak. I'm trying to play and do this at the same time. Ah, I missed it because I didn't kill it. This is why damage is so crucial in this. I need to find a resplendent chest or a chest in here that actually gives me yellow items. If I can get another yellow item, I'll be able to friggin' wreck this. So let me get some XP here off of the pool. See if I can search around for the chest in here. If I had a higher damage, I never would have originally lost my kill streak. I would have been going and going and going and going and going and going. Let's see if I can do this right. So after I give this demonstration, and I get some items out of here, I'll be able to be a lot more efficient at killing all these enemies. Because, like I said, the level my character is at right now is underpowered for the weapon I have. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to actually go through and do this without the proper leveling. I'm sorry, without the proper weapon. So I'm trying to give you an example without actually being able to give you the whole example. Oh, I was actually able to kill 100 enemies. That's actually even a bigger plus. And I'm just going to let the I'm going to let this go through. And of course, it could not give me a single yellow weapon. It couldn't give me a single yellow item. All right, let's try this, and maybe this will do it. Okay, there's an item. All right, so now I get a bunch of yellow items. So after I clear these guys out, I'll go increase my weapon to show you the difference. All right, so let me get all of this out of here. All right, let me go back and go back to town. Strip some of this out of here. It's a two-handed weapon. Actually, that's pretty good. Level 31. I don't even need to make it. That's cool. So I'm going to wear my ring. And I'm going to wear this belt. Nice. Okay, so now I'm going to take the jewel, the gem that I have out of this weapon. I'm going to go salvage all these. And I'm going to put some other gems in my gear for now. This is going in here. Now I'm going to put this in here, this in here. Alright. And then normally, again, you would only use a Leoric's crown if, you know, if you got it, you would wear it. And it's only efficient if you actually have a gem to put in it. So that's the other thing. So let's see, what do I need here? The poison damage, essence, grants 19 experience. That's actually a pretty good weapon. I mean, it's missing some damage because it doesn't have intelligence on it. It doesn't have 2 stats on the front, but that's besides the point. So this will show you the equivalency of, like, the difference now between having that low-level weapon and this one, even though I had a ruby in it. So let me go back and show you the strategy again. Going back to the Skeleton King. Actually, you know what? Let me see if Zoltan Cool is here. It's always a good idea to check to see if Zoltan Cool is a bounty. Alright, so. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Ruins of Sescheron's Eternal Woods. And this is, I have a speed boost as it is. I think I have it for like 44 more seconds, so that's going to be really good. And now any elites I come across are going to get wiped. So now I'm just going to start wiping the floor with these guys. Throw my golem down. Now I can actually get a good kill streak on this. Ah, I missed it. That was just me bad playing. I can't really blame that on anybody in here. It's a good idea to keep going down. That way you can, after you get some enemies in here, your other enemies will, your other minions and shit will fight for you. This is why this elite pack just fucked up my kill streak. Because I couldn't kill them. They're taking too long to kill. Keeps knocking me back. Alright, so let me see here. Why don't I have a kill streak yet? This is retarded. So let me see if I can, see, my freaking, this game is lagging. I'm on a China server, so that doesn't help the matter, so I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm probably going to get killed anyway. So far, every single one of these packs have had shielding on them. Every single one of them. So anyway, I think you guys get the point on this. As far as this goes. So after I clear this out, I'm going to end the stream, and then I'm going to start streaming. Yeah, my kill streaks keep getting interrupted because I'm on a China server, and this is lagging. I'm not missing any kills. The game's just skipping, not registering the kill when I'm doing it. Kill 100 enemies, so this ought to be good. Let's see what I get here. I'm at level 36, right? I get 100 enemies off of that one. That's cool. So now I'm just going to let this go. And it's about the extent of that. So that's basically the gist of it. Obviously, you're going to keep updating your whatever skills you have with the abilities and stuff like that. So what you wind up with is you keep coming into this area when you're doing this. as far as kills. And obviously, when you start getting, I would, like I said, I would save the death breaths that you have for, because you would have already done so many bounties. You probably will have jewel crafting materials to create really high quality gems, which immensely pump up your damage. So what you would do is, after you hit like level 40 or 50, you would exit the game. You would leave the game after doing that. Let me back out of here this way. You would leave the game and then go back. You would exit to the menu, and then you would change the difficulty level to whatever the one after this is. Yeah, this is lagging really bad because I'm on a China server. And so you would back out, and this is on hard. So what I would do is at like level 50, I would change the difficulty level up to expert, and then you would be able to plow pretty much through anything, because you would have these such high-grade gems that you'd probably be doing, I don't know, almost 1,000 damage per, as far as the equipment goes. And all you do is you keep the same equipment on, that XP gaining gear. If you get a Leoric's crown, it's up to you whether or not you want to cube it, but I wouldn't do that. I would wear it, and then you're gonna want to wearing low-grade items. So again, you want to start using blood shards at level 15 because of Leoric's signet, but more so you want the circle ring that gives you multiple mages, which is crucial. And then you want the basically you're going to use the Mage Lance build that I did, which you can go look at on the updated version. It's a speed version, a speed farming build with a Necro that I built, that I think I believe it's far more efficient than the Poison Lancer build, simply because you have more control over what you're doing with the corpses. But if you go take a look at that build, basically what this is that's a version, it's an early half-assed version of that build. And when you wind up going through and doing all that, it's a lot more efficient for speeding up from level 1 to 70, because I want to be clear about something when you're getting these XP streaks. I don't know if you get the XP streak in a group, if it applies to the group or not. I know it applies to you, but I can't be guaranteed that that's going to apply to the group. That's why I say do this solo. But if it does, if you find out if it does apply to a group, then by all means, go into the ruins of Secheron's, the Eternal Woods over by the ruins of Secheron, and just keep clearing that out, clearing that out, clearing that out. And so, once you get that done, you're pretty much all good to go, and you can pretty much, handle it, go from there. So, again, you want the Borns and the Cane set, which is why you do the bounties. You want to make sure that you do the Challenge Rift after season starts, so you get a jump on the items and the materials, so you can level all your, the Jewel Crafter, the Blacksmith, and the Enchantress all up to level 12, and allows you to keep creating higher grade items. And remember, the damage is coming from your two-handed weapon. You're not there to get defense. You're there to pump out as much damage as you can. So to keep your kill streak going, you need to actually kill these things. So the higher up you go, the more two-handed weapons you need to keep making. And again, when you're making the two-handed weapon, if it rolls with a socket in, all the power to you. But if it doesn't roll with a socket in it, try to make sure that the stats on it are at least intelligence, some other form of damage, and a random stat that you can change. If you have attack speed, change the attack speed to like a socket, and then put a ruby into this. So in other words, remember, do not put an emerald into any lower grade item until after you're level 70. Or level 70, or, in your Paragon points. But once you do that, you're good to go. So once you hit level 70, most likely other people will already be level 70, so you can start joining public Rift games. Now, if you want to get technical, most people start doing Rift games, which is not really a good idea because it actually gimps your damage. You can't get XP gains. You can't get kill streaks inside a Rift. I don't know why, you just can't do it. But the Rift is also good for, Resplendent Chest or just other stuff. But remember, the Elite Packs are not going to drop much of anything until you're at least starting to get to level 61, because the Elite Packs are usually used for Death Breaths. So that's about the extent of that, and that's pretty much all there is to it. And so, with that being said, I'm going to sign off with this stream, and in about 15-20 minutes I'm going to start Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And Matt, I'll talk to you inside the chat here, just as far as this goes. So, this is TL Gamer signing off. Have a good day or night wherever you guys are, and I'll be back on in a little bit. Take care.